Hello and welcome to the Record Club, brought to you by Record and National Album Day, and proudly in association with Bowers and Wilkins. My name is Jess Iszatt. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very excited to say that this evening our guest is Billie Marten to talk all about her brand new album, Flora Fauna. So if you're new to the Record Club, basically, we're going to be spending the next half an hour talking to Billie all about the brilliant new record, which I have over here. And then we'll be putting your questions forward for her to answer. So if there is anything you would like to know about the new record, whether it be about a certain song or a particular lyric that you've enjoyed, drop us a question in the comments section below, and I will be asking a selection of them in the second half of our chat. On top of that, one lucky person who sends in a question today will be randomly selected to win a pair of Bowers and Wilkins PX7 over-ear noise-cancelling headphones. And honestly, it's a wicked prize not to miss out on. I've been listening to the album non-stop in them, and yeah, it's just sounding beaut. I also would love to encourage you to buy one of these records. If you haven't already, pick it up from your own local record store. We thoroughly recommend that you go and do that after our chat with Billie is over. So let's get straight into this week's Record Club and say a big hello to Billie Marten.
Hello.
Billie, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm having a lovely sunny time right now.
I was going to say you look pretty chic for someone who's just come out of the river.
Literally just showered myself and sat down here. I love it. This time of the year, it just makes me feel much better than normal and makes me function really well. And I think it's going to last. I think after the year we've had, we're just going to get a quick run, a long run of sun until October.
Until we're done. Until we're ready to like hibernate again.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we start each week with a question from a local independent record store from an independent record store across the UK. And this week's question comes from the team at Sound Knowledge in Marlborough. And they've asked, hi, Billie, we're looking forward to welcoming you back once again for an in-store in July.
Third time.
Yeah, we love Flora Fauna, and there are some really interesting collaborations on this record. How did these link-ups with some of these artists come about?
Well, I originally wanted this album to be live band, and I wanted us all to play together, but given the pandemic, and we recorded it last August, it could only be me and my producer Rich in the studio, which was a slight bummer, but instead we just got friends in for a couple of hours very quickly, or they did it remotely and added their stuff to the album. And it was very much just a call I made out to anyone that needed something to do and needed a creative project to get into. And we've got my friend Will from Mystery Jets. He's playing some really great slide guitar on a song called Pigeon. And my friend Nick from a band called Flight. He's on baritone. And my old housemate Tilda is on trumpet in Creature of Mine, and then my friend Guy Garvey whom we toured together for a couple of years and have become great friends despite the pandemic. I just rang him up in the morning of recording and said, do you want to be on it? And he was flattered. He was like, who, me? So that was really nice. And the song Walnut is the one that he's on. It was very much, when I recorded the demo a couple of weeks before recording it properly, I had this long running harmony that went through the whole thing. So, and I could have done it myself, but I just think it's so much better having that gravelly male tone to kind of differ with me, and it brings just such a different texture. So he nailed it. And
yeah, a whole nother layer.
Everyone's on there.
Oh, yeah, I actually did have a question about Guy because, he's known for his sort of storytelling. Has he imparted any wisdom to you over the time touring with him?
Yeah, that guy is just a constant fountain of wisdom, and he will never run out of stories to tell. And I've witnessed a lot of them, and none of them have been the same. But I guess he's very good at slowly and kind of subliminally filling people with confidence. He's very good at making you feel warm and welcomed and kind of like you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to be doing music. And he's got this incredible passion for it, and it hasn't faded at all. And he's in the studio every day, and he's constantly making new things and collaborating, and he's just a good, strong character in music that hasn't been tarnished by any of it.
I'm really sorry for the ice cream truck that has stopped outside of my room. But yeah, you're saying something obviously really lovely and powerful, and then we've got a twinkly backdrop. But it's summer, and
I
I'll
like it.
probably run out and buy an ice cream afterwards. Do you have a choice of ice cream that you would normally get from an ice cream truck?
I'm a real traditionalist, so 99 for me, please.
Love it.
And you have to push the flake right in the middle. You have to push it down so it goes through the cone, and then with every bite of the cone, you get the chocolate.
Oh my God, I've never known anyone to do that.
Yeah. So I
That
thought
is
everyone did
creative.
it. Apparently
I
not.
love that. I love that. I'm going to take that with me. Just yeah. Well, big ups to Sound Knowledge in Marlborough as well.
Yes,
Thank you so
thank
much for
you.
your question. Billy, you're going to be there in, did they say it was July?
July.
That's going to be good.
Yeah, we've got a whole run. So me and Jason, who's my oldest friend and tour manager and band member, will be playing all week in July, all the way around the country.
So with Flora Fauna, obviously diving headfirst into the album, I've just loved it. I mean, you've already spoken about sort of textures in terms of yours and Guy's voice together on this, but I just think the whole thing is just so like earthy and yeah, can you talk to me about just the cover and also like, you know, the names of the songs and stuff? They're all I feel like the only one that kind of stands out separately is Kill the Clown, maybe not so earthy. But the whole like energy of it is all quite yeah, like Mother Nature.
Well, that's good. I mean, I have not stopped talking about nature for a couple of months now, which keeps me happy. um, but it really just it explores so many more themes than that. I just wanted the whole thing to be tied into flora fauna because those are the two things that encompass the whole world, everything. So it's a great platform to kind of add to the mixing bowl all of these different songs that actually tackle some really opposing subjects. And it's a lot about love and religion and crime and all of the kind of current things that were floating around my brain for a couple of years. But they all came back to nature. So that's why I wanted the cover to literally just be very in your face, and I was putting nature in and around my mouth. And I was also trying to, it's very bright and everything's very saturated and crunchy. And we have that grain going through the whole album artwork. And it's another collaboration with my good friend Katie Sylvester, who always does my photos and videos and everything. And we just wanted to have no element of, yep, no ducks were harmed in the making of this album. Let me just say that. I don't want people to get upset. It was all everything was fine. I just wanted everything to be succinct and clear and no kind of vagueness or disparity in what I was saying. It had to be in your face. So
It's funny that you say that though, because I've literally written about in my questions about balancing the abstract kind of details of truth that you have in there, but also you know kind of twisting it to deflect from it being specifically about you. Uh, yeah, I feel like the it's quite poetic in a way, and it's not so in your face that it's just like straight up.
well, I think for the type of music I've always made and the accent I have when I sing, it's quite difficult to be so direct. But I've definitely made a jump from the first two albums to this one to really just tackle the subjects I wanted to tackle. Whereas before I've skirted around certain conversations and ideas and I've been too afraid to address them. So this was more about addressing the things and singing the things I needed to sing.
How long was the album in the making?
It was a couple of years in the end. Me and Rich started making demos Christmas of 2019. And then, the world fell apart after that. But it was a great reunion we had in summer because I was up north with my parents and he was back in London, and we just had months and months of talking on the phone and not making music together. But in the end, it came together really quickly. We did the whole thing in 10 days, and, next single was out in January, so it
And
was
I
really
heard
rolling.
that you picked up the bass whilst writing this album as well. Was that specifically for the album, or was it, a lockdown venture?
It was actually pre-lockdown, but it was definitely a moment of winter boredom, and I just wasn't inspired with what I was doing. And the guitar kind of just lost all of its romanticism, and it wasn't very attractive to me. So using something like the bass and using it in a very melodic way, and not necessarily an accompaniment, like each song the bass is kind of the main line. It just made me write in a completely different way.
What are your main inspirations when it comes to the imagery that is on this? Are you like a real book reader, or is it poetry, or perhaps films?
I love all three of those things. I think they're all really good. um, I guess I've always been influenced by all different types of culture. I just take it in every day, and then they all, in the end, inspire something that comes out of me every 2 years. So it's just sort of long-term, what's the word? Exposure to all these things.
Yeah. I've realised that I put just a really beautiful thank you note, but now I'm probably gonna have to read it. But it's up in the corner, and there are a number of different people that you thank, and like Rich for still making silly music with me, and just I think it's really lovely. And I've noticed that even in the thank you note, you say thanks to the cradle of humans. And I think there's actually maybe two songs in here that you use the word sort of cradle.
Very
Does
good
that it,
listening.
it's kind of like I was just it just made me think like it's more intimate than a hug almost, or perhaps kind of more, I don't know, what is it about the word cradle and for you?
It's so well observed. That's crazy. I just think I spent a lot of my life, short life, deflecting people and not letting them in, and definitely not using them as any form of support. And I've just had this complete turnaround through the process of making this album, of doing the opposite of that and really just accepting love and also giving it out as well. And I just think the image of a cradle is so kind of infantile and back to square one, and you're completely vulnerable in that position. And I just think it's really important to let people know that you are sometimes. And, I say this every day, but I still don't know what I'm doing. And all of these things, every musician is always just trying to do the right thing and just seeing how it goes. So I just thought it was important to get that feeling across.
Yeah, I sort of like gravitated towards that first, and then as I was kind of going through it, I was like, yeah, it's just it's quite a powerful image, almost like someone being
Mm.
cradled.
Mm.
Um, which track on the record are you most proud of, and is it your favorite?
Um, it's probably Liquid Love, which is number 4 on the album. Ooh,
It is one, two, yeah, four.
great.
It's
That
my
one.
favorite as well, by the way.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think it was just, well, this is what I mean by silly music with Rich, because we really just, I hate to sound, can I swear on here? No,
I think you can, but
just a
I'm not
little one. I won't say it. Um, it's just very experimental, but not insufferable with us. We really just get into the room together, and then 3 hours later we'll have this fully formed thing. And Liquid Love was one of the first ones that we literally just did in a couple of hours, and it just felt so natural to me, and I was so into the sounds we were making, and the whole thing was very much like diving into a pool, and I had this instant video idea of just like shining those kind of almost fluorescent lights like going through water and having the hands and the hair and the feet, and it was just a very visceral feeling for me as soon as we started doing that little looping sample with the thing. And we just used this little Yamaha keyboard and that cyclical what's the word? Cyclical bass line. Nothing really moves in that song. It's like a wave, it just keeps washing. Not much happens. But by the end of it, it feels like something's happened to you. And I just loved the day that we finished that.
It's so beautiful. It almost feels like you're being like wrapped in it. When I was like listening with my headphones, I was like, oh, this is like my comfort zone. This is great. Um, has there been a surprising fan favourite?
Um, I think people are into Ruin. I think it's purely because of the change in tempo, maybe, or the chorus gets a bit wild. I was very aware of not putting out Human Replacement as a single because I thought it would be a false representation of what the album would sound like, because it's really just the Anomaly on there. So I was worried about that one, but it seems that they kind of like that vibe as well, which is good. And these are all just experiments in sound. And hopefully people don't see that it's disparate. You know, in my head they all join together, even though sonically everything's quite different.
I actually have my faves are Liquid Love, Ruin, and Human Replacement, and then I also added Aquarium at the end, just because
Yeah.
I think as an ending for an album, it just, I mean, you're going quite deep, like right from the beginning.
Mm.
Talk to me about Aquarium.
I am really attached to that one as well, actually. It's quite a personal one for me, as they all are. Um, but it was just an immediate song that came out when I was in quite a low point a couple of years ago, and it followed a conversation I had with my dad, who is very good at being practical and giving that sort of advice. And he's incredibly emotionless, but he knows when people are in pickles and they need some help. So he told me to put the phone down and go and write "This too shall pass" on a piece of paper and stick it on the wall. And I did that. I thought it was really ridiculous, but I did it anyway. And as soon as I did that, picked up the guitar in Aquarium, just fell out of my mouth. And it was really just an instant thing. And it was just an incredibly therapized but not too introspective moment. And to me, I mean, it's not supposed to be too dark. It's just a song about accepting the fact that you need people, even if you don't want to. And again, I just wanted to tie everything back to that garden imagery and needing that in your life.
Yeah. Oh, that is so nice that your dad kind of had a part in that, your family.
Yeah.
Do they ever normally help you with your music?
No, I'm very bad at taking criticism actually. So when I go home and play demos, I tend to not listen to the responses. But generally, they're the most supportive, loving parents, and they've had to deal with, you know, a teenager being in the music industry from very early on, and it was very protective and lovely. So.
Amazing. So obviously you've not been able to tour yet with the album. Which one are you most looking forward to playing and showing live?
Uh, which song or which venue?
Yeah, which
Which song?
tune?
I think Human Replacement is going to be a real exercise in me not having an instrument in front of me. I think there may be an ambient tambourine, but that's going to be quite full on for me, I think. And also, it'd just be great to just make some actual noise, because I have a terrible relationship with sound guys because I'm just too quiet. And festivals are really hard. So it would be great to just, I mean, we've got the band as well this year, which is really good. And it'd be great to just explore these new places, not feeling so vulnerable this time.
Remember, guys, if you want to ask Billie anything about the album, you can just drop us a comment in the question in the comment section below. So, Billie, which tune on this album went under the most change from start to finish?
Possibly Heaven or Ruin. Ruin started with, it was incredibly slow, maybe 11 times slower than it is now. And it was just me and bass, and I wanted to keep it like that until the end. And then at the finishing line, it became this enormous song with a wall of guitars, and it became quite epic. But Heaven was just a tiny little song written on classical. And then I was singing the part that the sitar does. And we just put that in the demo, and then eventually just found that random sound, and it seemed to stick. And it's got a nice sample from some Evensong in Verona that I walked into when I was on holiday 3 years ago, and I just thought everything tied together really nicely. And again, that turned into a sort of epic song.
Is there a collaboration that perhaps you wanted, or like a feature that you kind of wanted on the album initially, when perhaps you could have done it in the studio like normal?
This is really funny, because we did have a day where, because originally we were going to have someone else singing a verse or rapping a verse on Liquid Love, and we left a gap in the demo for months and months and months. Eventually it didn't happen. I'm kind of glad it didn't, because I feel like it would have taken people out of the zone. But I actually I messaged loads of people just in that hyper studio mode where the world doesn't really exist and your album really does. And I sent a message to Mike Skinner.
Oh my god,
he wanted to go. He sadly did not reply, but I'll try again one day. I think that would have been great. So
Mike, you should listen to Liquid Love if you're out there. Put it out into the world. Perhaps he'll jump on it. Oh, that would be so amazing. I actually photobombed one of Mike Skinner photobombed one of my selfies. He was like, someone was DJing, and I went to take a photo, and then he like got in with his camera. So somewhere in the world that photo exists. So I basically know Mike Skinner, and now I can get him on your track.
Cool.
I don't know why I've just said that on record. Yeah, guys. So we've got Charlotte on Billie's page, who says, who do you have planned for the tour?
As in the band?
It says, that's what I've got.
I don't know what that means, Charlotte.
What do you have planned for? Oh, what do you have planned for the tour?
Right. Oh, hello?
Hi, I can't tell whether that was me who froze or you, so I just froze as well.
All right. What do I have planned for tour? Well, it's going to be, like I said, a lot louder and more involved, and there are more people on stage with me, which is lovely because I always need the company. And we will do a real chunk of the old stuff as well, so it won't all be heavy and loud. We'll have the quiet moments, but yeah.
Mariana on Facebook says, what's the very first part of the process of songwriting for you? Do song lyrics or music notes form first?
Well, it's usually messing around on guitar or whatever instrument you've got in front of you, finding a melody there, maybe putting a harmony to it, and then muttering, and then slowly words come out. But recently I've been really trying to force myself to just write lyrics and write them as a fully formed song, and then try and match it to some sort of melody. Because that way I'm finding you can actually say what you want to, rather than trying to squish words into places they don't belong and worrying about rhyme and, meter, and none of that stuff actually matters when you think about it. What matters is what you're trying to say. So yeah, it changes every time, I guess.
And Laura on the Record Club says, did you learn any new life skills over the past year during lockdown? And did you learn anything new about yourself?
I did learn lots about myself, as I think everyone did. And I have really come to terms with who I am, and that's nice. As for skills, I got really at one point. It was a great time.
What kind of
It sort of,
cereal?
well, I was just judging them all, and it got to the point where I think I have conquered them all, actually.
Every
Um,
single cereal?
well, I mean, to a British shelf,
Okay. Is
perhaps.
there is
Actually,
there not a
that's a
top?
lie. I have not done Crave.
Mm. Those are the cinnamon ones, right?
No. I think that's chocolate situation.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Cinnamon Crunch are the cinnamon ones.
There we go. Just
Yeah.
remembering the adverts from my sugary cereal TV
Mm.
days.
It was a lot. It was definitely a lot for my body. What else do I do? Obviously, lots of gardening and that sort of thing. Lots of walking. Skills. I did a bit of embroidery for a small amount of time. I kept getting tonsillitis
Oh,
every month, and it just came back for no reason. Um, and at that point, I don't know if you've had it, but life is really miserable, and you can't even really drink water, and you're just
yeah.
holding an ice cream in your mouth. So it was the only thing that was small and particular enough to keep my concentration on it, because TV or books or phone calls weren't working. Obviously, I couldn't talk.
Yeah, tonsillitis is the worst. That's interesting that you got it like staying in though. Did you have
I
to have them
know.
out?
Well, I'm trying to get them out, but they're telling me that it's going to affect my pitch. So now I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'll either have
Okay.
tonsillitis for the rest of time or have a slightly different voice.
Maybe it's the swimming in the river.
Maybe
It could be that.
you're not wrong. Not wrong.
Stop swimming in the rivers. London, it's dirty. God, I sound like your mum now.
Mm.
Right, who on Facebook? Hello, Billy. Love the album. Did your mum give you any ideas for the naming of the third album? Also, why didn't Plastic Bag slash Bin Song make it on Flora Fauna?
I love that they know that. That's really good news. So my mum pretty much named the last album "Feeding Seahorses" by hand, so she gets full credit for that. But this one, I was painting. I was painting a room in the house, and then I just painted Flora Fauna on it, and it was in green paint, and it was all very serendipitous, nice. And I took a picture of it, and it really just stuck with me. So that one's on me, but maybe she'll do the next one. And the Plastic Bag Bin song, which I hope it's the song I'm thinking about. It's actually called Dead Blackbird. To be honest, I couldn't have had Pigeon and Dead Blackbird and also have had a song called Bird come out. It was just a
No,
bit
that's true.
too much. So we'll leave it for later.
Birds.
Yeah, maybe I should just call it Plastic Bag Bin song.
Love the way they've named the song for you.
I like
Um,
that.
All right, Billy. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. That's all we have time for. Billie Marten, we've loved having you. And if you haven't already got yourself a copy
Yes,
of Flora
please.
Fauna yet, you need to get this bad boy. I'm also excited to announce that the winner of this week's Bowers and Wilkins wireless headphones prize is Charlotte. On Billy's page, you need to slide into the Record Club's DMs and we'll get those headphones to you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and sending in your questions. Our next guest will be announced on the Record Club's social media very soon, so make sure you're following us. Plus, all previous episodes are available to watch back on our YouTube channel. So we'll see you very soon. Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.